Wordplay puns. Wordplay represents the most intellectual form of humor, dating back to ancient civilizations. At its core, it's a playful manipulation of language that reveals the hidden connections between words and meanings. Think of language as a vast network of interconnected meanings. When we use wordplay, we're like explorers finding surprising shortcuts between these meanings. For example, when Shakespeare writes grave men near death, who see with blinding sight, is playing with multiple meanings of grave, serious death, and creating an oxymoron with blinding sight. Modern dad jokes continue this tradition, but in a more accessible way. When a father says, "Why don't eggs tell jokes?" they'd crack up he's connecting the physical cracking of eggs with the metaphorical cracking up of laughter. This demonstrates how wordplay can bridge the concrete and abstract worlds. What makes wordplay particularly fascinating is its role in cognitive development. When children begin to understand puns, it marks a significant milestone in their linguistic development. They're grasping that words can have multiple meanings and contexts. This understanding is crucial for advanced language mastery. In the digital age, wordplay has evolved into memes and viral content, showing its adaptability across generations and platforms. The ability to appreciate and create wordplay indicates not just linguistic intelligence, but also creative thinking and cultural awareness. The beauty of wordplay lies in its ability to make us see familiar language in new ways. It's like having a secret key that unlocks hidden doors in the structure of language itself. When we understand a clever pun, we're participating in a mini celebration of language's flexibility and richness. Sarcasm, irony. Sarcasm and irony represent the sophisticated art of saying one thing while meaning another. This form of humor operates on multiple levels simultaneously, creating a cognitive dance between literal and intended meanings. At its psychological core, sarcasm requires advanced social cognition. When someone says, "Oh, great to bad news," listeners must process both the literal meaning and the speaker's true intention. This dual processing makes sarcasm both challenging and rewarding for our brains. Different cultures handle sarcasm differently. British humor often relies heavily on irony, creating entire comedic situations based on understated reactions to absurd situations. Jewish humor frequently uses ironic self-commentary as a way of dealing with historical adversity. These cultural variations reveal how sarcasm adapts to social contexts. The digital age has brought new challenges to sarcasm. Without vocal tone and facial expressions, people have created new markers like S or alternating caps to indicate sarcastic intent online. This evolution shows how this form of humor adapts to new communication channels. Research suggests that understanding and using sarcasm actually improves creativity and problem-solving abilities. It requires mental flexibility to navigate between literal and intended meanings, exercising our cognitive abilities in unique ways. The most profound aspect of sarcasm is its role as a social lubricant. It allows people to express criticism or disagreement in socially acceptable ways, making it a valuable tool for managing complex social interactions. However, this same quality makes it potentially dangerous, as misinterpreted sarcasm can lead to social confusion or offense.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more topics you love.
Physical comedy slapstick. Physical comedy transcends language barriers because it taps into fundamental human experiences and emotions. When we watch Charlie Chaplin stumble or Mr. Bean struggle with everyday objects, we're connecting with something deeply primitive and universal in human experience. The psychology behind slapstick is fascinating. Our laughter at physical mishaps stems from a combination of relief that it's not happening to us, recognition we've experienced similar situations, and the surprise of expectations being violated. This explains why a perfectly timed pratfall can make people from any culture laugh. What makes physical comedy truly remarkable is its precision. Despite appearing chaotic, successful slapstick requires careful choreography and timing. When Buster Keaton performed his famous stunts, he was executing complex physical mathematics in real time, making split-second adjustments that meant the difference between comedy and catastrophe. The democratizing nature of physical comedy makes it especially powerful. A child can appreciate someone slipping on a banana peel just as much as an adult. This accessibility has made it a cornerstone of entertainment from ancient Greek theater to modern YouTube videos. Modern physical comedy has evolved with technology and social awareness. While traditional slapstick often involved exaggerated violence, contemporary physical comedy tends to focus more on relatable awkward situations and social faux pas. This evolution reflects changing societal values while maintaining the core appeal. Perhaps most profoundly, physical comedy reminds us of our shared human vulnerability. When we laugh at someone struggling with a stubborn door or tangled in their clothes, we're acknowledging our own daily battles with the physical world. This shared experience creates a powerful bond between performer and audience.
Satire parody. Satire represents humor's highest form of social commentary, using wit as a weapon to expose societal flaws and challenge established norms. It's the intellectual equivalent of holding up a funhouse mirror to society, distorting reality just enough to reveal deeper truths.
What makes satire particularly powerful is its ability to bypass our defensive mechanisms. When The Onion publishes an article about social issues, or The Daily Show mocks political figures, they're delivering serious criticism wrapped in humor. This allows difficult truths to penetrate where direct criticism might be rejected. But the creation of effective satire requires a delicate balance. Too subtle, and the message is lost too obvious, and it becomes mere criticism. The best satirists are like social surgeons, precise in their incisions into cultural consciousness. They must understand not just what they're mocking, but why, and how to make that critique resonate with their audience. Historical examples show satire's enduring power. From Jonathan Swift's A Modest Proposal to modern late-night television, satirists have influenced public opinion and even policy changes. This demonstrates humor's potential as a tool for social change. Modern satire faces unique challenges in an era of fake news and social media. When reality often seems more absurd than parody, satirists must work harder to distinguish their work from actual events. This has led to more sophisticated commentary that plays with meta-humor and self-awareness. The most profound aspect of satire is its role as a safety valve for social tension. By allowing us to laugh at serious problems, It provides both relief and motivation for change, making it an essential tool for democratic discourse. Observational humor. Observational humor transforms the mundane into the memorable by highlighting the absurdities hidden in everyday life. When comedians like Jerry Seinfeld ask what's the deal with airplane food, they're really inviting us to examine the shared experiences we usually take for granted. The power of this humor style lies in its relatability. When a comedian points out something we've all experienced but never articulated, it creates an aha moment that's both enlightening and entertaining. This shared recognition creates an immediate bond between performer and audience. What makes observational humor particularly fascinating is its role in social commentary. By examining everyday situations in detail, comedians often reveal underlying patterns in human behavior and social conventions. This can lead to genuine insights about why we do things the way we do. The craft of observational humor requires developing what comedians call a comedian's eye, the ability to notice and question aspects of life that others overlook. This perspective shift can be valuable beyond comedy, encouraging more mindful and analytical approaches to daily life. In the social media era, observational humor has evolved. Platforms like Twitter and TikTok have democratized this form of comedy, allowing anyone to share their unique observations about life. This has led to more diverse perspectives and new ways of looking at common experiences. Perhaps most importantly, observational humor helps us feel less alone in our experiences. When someone articulates something we've felt but never expressed, it validates our perceptions and creates a sense of shared human experience. This makes it both entertaining and therapeutically valuable. Dark humor. Dark humor serves as humanity's psychological release valve, allowing us to process difficult or taboo subjects through the lens of comedy. It's like emotional alchemy, transforming pain, fear, and discomfort into laughter. The psychology behind dark humor is complex. Research suggests that people who appreciate dark humor often have higher intelligence and better emotional coping mechanisms. By laughing at difficult subjects, we gain a sense of control over them. This explains why dark humor is common among professionals who regularly deal with death or tragedy. Cultural attitudes toward dark humor vary significantly. What's acceptable in one society might be deeply offensive in another. This variation reflects different cultural approaches to dealing with tragedy and taboo subjects. For example, Jewish humor often includes dark elements related to historical persecution, serving as a communal coping mechanism. The therapeutic value of dark humor is well documented. In hospitals, emergency rooms, and war zones, dark humor helps people cope with traumatic situations. It provides emotional distance from overwhelming situations and helps maintain mental health in difficult circumstances. However, dark humor requires careful navigation. The line between therapeutic humor and offensive insensitivity can be thin. Successful dark humor often depends on context, timing, and understanding your audience. It's like handling a powerful tool that requires skill and wisdom to use effectively. The most profound aspect of dark humor is its ability to help us confront our deepest fears and taboos. By making light of serious subjects, we can discuss and process them in ways that might otherwise be too difficult or painful. Absurdist humor. Absurdist humor represents the rebellion against logical expectations, creating laughter through the deliberate violation of reality's rules. It's like stepping through a funhouse mirror into a world where normal logic doesn't apply. What makes absurdist humor particularly fascinating is its reflection of our relationship with meaning itself. When Monty Python presents a ministry of silly walks, or modern memes combine completely unrelated elements, they're not just being random, they're challenging our fundamental assumptions about how things should make sense. The rise of internet culture has given absurdist humor new life. Modern memes often combine seemingly unrelated elements in ways that create their own internal logic. This evolution shows how absurdist humor adapts to new cultural contexts while maintaining its core appeal of subverting expectations. Psychologically, absurdist humor works by creating cognitive dissonance, the mental tension between what we expect and what we encounter. This dissonance, when presented in a safe and playful context, becomes pleasurable rather than disturbing. It's like mental gymnastics for our brains. Children often naturally gravitate toward absurdist humor, suggesting it might play a role in cognitive development. By playing with nonsensical ideas, they learn to understand and sometimes challenge conventional logic and social rules. The most profound aspect of absurdist humor is its ability to free us from the constraints of conventional thinking. When we laugh at something absurd, we're momentarily liberated from the need for everything to make sense, which can be both refreshing and enlightening. Self-deprecating humor. Self-deprecating humor represents a sophisticated form of emotional intelligence, where the comedian uses their own flaws or mistakes as material for laughter. It's like turning personal vulnerabilities into social strengths. This form of humor serves multiple psychological functions. First, it disarms potential critics by acknowledging flaws before others can point them out. Second, it creates relatability by showing that even successful people have insecurities and make mistakes. Third, it demonstrates emotional security. Only someone comfortable with themselves can genuinely laugh at their own expense. Cultural variations in self-deprecating humor are revealing. British comedy often relies heavily on it, reflecting cultural values of modesty and understatement. Jewish humor traditionally includes strong elements of self-deprecation, serving as both a coping mechanism and a way to build community bonds. Asian cultures may use it to show humility and maintain group harmony. The key to effective self-deprecation lies in balance. Too little can make someone appear arrogant, too much can seem like fishing for compliments or indicating low self-esteem. The sweet spot creates a sense of authentic humility while maintaining dignity. In professional settings, self-deprecating humor can be particularly powerful. Leaders who can laugh at their own mistakes often appear more approachable and trustworthy. It's like creating a bridge between authority and accessibility. Perhaps most profoundly, self-deprecating humor reflects our ability to step outside ourselves and view our own actions with perspective and amusement. This self-awareness is a uniquely human trait and a sign of emotional maturity. Situational comedy. Situational comedy harnesses the natural humor that arises from human circumstances and interactions. It's like capturing lightning in a bottle, taking everyday situations and amplifying their inherent comedic potential. The mechanics of situational comedy often rely on several key elements: misunderstandings, coincidences, dramatic irony, where the audience knows more than the characters, and the escalation of relatively simple problems into increasingly complex scenarios. Think of it as a snowball rolling downhill, gathering size and momentum. What makes sitcoms particularly effective is their ability to create relatable scenarios that spiral into entertaining chaos. The best situational comedy takes familiar experiences, family dynamics, workplace relationships, romantic misunderstandings, and pushes them to their logical but absurd conclusions. The psychology behind situational comedy is fascinating. We laugh because we recognize the patterns from our own lives while enjoying the safety of watching others deal with exaggerated versions of our daily challenges. It's like watching a controlled experiment in human behavior gone wrong. Modern situational comedy has evolved with changing social norms and technology. While classic sitcoms might have revolved around miscommunication due to missed phone calls, contemporary ones might involve social media mishaps or text message misunderstandings. This evolution shows how the form adapts while maintaining its core appeal. The most profound aspect of situational comedy is its ability to reflect and comment on genuine human nature and social dynamics. Through exaggerated scenarios, it reveals truths about how we interact, communicate, and handle conflicts in our daily lives. Cultural ethnic humor. Cultural and ethnic humor represents one of the most complex and nuanced forms of comedy, serving as both a mirror and a lens through which societies view themselves and others. It's like walking a tightrope between celebration and stereotype. When used within cultural groups, this type of humor often serves as a form of social bonding and shared identity reinforcement. It can be a way of acknowledging common experiences and challenges while building group solidarity. Think of it as an inside joke on a community-wide scale. The power dynamics of cultural humor are crucial to understand. When members of a cultural group make jokes about their own community, it's often a form of reclaiming narrative control and processing shared experiences. However, the same jokes told by outsiders can take on very different meanings and implications. Historical context plays a vital role in cultural humor. Many ethnic groups have developed distinctive comedic traditions as ways of coping with discrimination or hardship. Jewish humor, for example, often includes elements of self-deprecation and irony that evolved as responses to historical persecution. Modern multicultural societies face unique challenges and opportunities with cultural humor. As communities become more interconnected, humor can either bridge divides or reinforce stereotypes. The key lies in understanding the difference between laughing with versus laughing at. The most profound aspect of cultural humor is its ability to serve as a tool for both social commentary and cultural preservation. Through humor, communities can address serious issues, preserve cultural memories, and adapt to changing times while maintaining their distinct identities. Physical transformation. physical transformation humor represents one of the most visually striking forms of comedy, where the performer's ability to alter their appearance, movement, or voice creates laughter. It's like watching a human chameleon at work. The psychological impact of physical transformation humor runs deep. When we watch someone like Jim Carrey contort his face into impossible expressions, or Mr. Bean transform his everyday movements into dance-like awkwardness, we're witnessing the manipulation of fundamental human recognition patterns. This form of humor works on multiple levels. First, there's the pure visual spectacle, the wow factor of seeing someone transform themselves. Second, there's the skill appreciation. Audiences recognize the difficulty and control required for such performances. Third, there's the emotional connection. These transformations often express feelings or situations we can't normally articulate. The universal appeal of physical transformation crosses cultural boundaries because it taps into basic human experiences and emotions. A grimace is recognizable in any language, and physical comedy doesn't require translation. This makes it particularly powerful in global entertainment. Modern technology has added new dimensions to physical transformation humor. Digital effects and filters now allow anyone to experiment with visual transformation, democratizing this form of comedy. However, the most skilled physical comedians still rely primarily on their own bodily control and timing. The most profound aspect of physical transformation humor is its reminder of our own physical plasticity and expressiveness. It shows us how much can be communicated without words and reminds us of the incredible range of human physical expression. Wit, clever remarks. Wit represents the lightning-fast deployment of intelligence for humorous effect. It's like verbal fencing, quick, precise, and requiring both skill and timing to execute effectively. The essence of wit lies in its immediacy and precision. Unlike prepared jokes or rehearsed routines, true wit requires real-time processing of context and immediate formulation of clever responses. Oscar Wilde's famous quips, for example, weren't just funny, they were razor-sharp observations delivered with perfect timing. Historically, wit has been associated with social status and intelligence. In many societies, the ability to deliver clever remarks marked someone as educated and socially adept. This association continues today, though the contexts have evolved. Modern wit often shows itself in quick responses on social media or in professional settings. The psychology of wit is fascinating. It requires multiple cognitive processes working simultaneously: understanding context, processing language, making unexpected connections, and delivering the response with appropriate timing. It's like watching a mental acrobat perform complex maneuvers in real time. Good wit often involves seeing connections that others miss or expressing common observations in uniquely clever ways. It's not just about being funny, it's about being insightful in an entertaining way. The best witty remarks often make people both laugh and think. Perhaps most profoundly, wit represents the height of verbal dexterity and social intelligence. It demonstrates not just quick thinking, but also cultural awareness, linguistic mastery, and social timing. In many ways, it's the intellectual equivalent of athletic prowess.